So now we can start the actual game development process. So yeah, first of all, navigate to the address editor.construct.net. It should open you a window like this. And of course, I'm using my account here. So I have on the top right corner, I have my account, and I have the premium license for the construct tree, which gives a lot of space to do stuff. But with the free version, that's always a possibility to make games as well. And to make sure that I have everything in common with you, I'm just actually gonna log out and use the free edition just to make sure that everything looks the same. Okay, so we have on the top right corner, we have the button New Project. So let's start by pressing that and give the project a name. So let's call it a platformer. There we go. And the rest of the options which you have here, you don't have to actually change these in any way. You can get back into these, changing these options if you like in the in future. But right now, these are totally fine. So let's press create. And here we have the basic look of Construct 3 game engine. So this is the space in which you actually create the games. And this what you see here is the layout wheel. So at the top you can see that the layout 1 is selected. And this is the layout. So basically what you see here is the level in which the player is gonna do stuff. So depending on what type of a game you're gonna make, if it's a top-down game, you're gonna make a character here and some obstacles and stuff like that. And because we're working with a platformer game, it's gonna be like from the side view, and there's gonna be platforms all over the place in which the player can jump back and forth and stuff like that. So, but yeah, this dot lines here, these are basically the camera of the game. So what the player sees is within these dot areas, these dot lines. So right now, if I place something here, the player wouldn't see that because the camera is positioned right here. So yeah, at the left side of the screen, we have different kind of properties. So depending on what you have picked, you have different kind of properties for that picked and given object. So for example, if I press pick the layout, I can see the layout stuff. And if I pick the, actually that event sheet doesn't change anything, but when I create objects within the scene and select those, it will change the left side of the screen to the properties which that object actually has. So you will see that in a moment. And yeah, at the top there's a start page, which obviously is the start page which we just departed from and went to our project. So there's right now there are two type of windows which we have open, is the layout 1 and event sheet. So the event sheet will be the place in which we create the actual code for the game. So yeah, that's code might be a proper word, but it's more of like visual scripting. So we're just gonna give orders for the game engine in English for it to do stuff. So there's no not that much of a coding in place in this project, just giving commands for the game engine. So the layout 1 is the first level. So we can actually start by renaming this layout 1. So this is the project hierarchy right here. So we have the platformer, which is our project name, obviously. If you gave it some other name, it's right here. So there's the layouts. So layouts is the levels. And this is the level 1. And we're going to rename that. So right click on that layout 1. And you have different kind of options, and we're gonna press the rename and call it level 1. And it's case sensitive, so make sure that you type everything exactly the same as I do. So everything with lowercase letters, and level 1. There we go. And the next one is the event sheets folder, in which we have the event sheet 1 right now. So how event sheets work, you basically assign an event sheet for every level. So for example, if I pick this level 1, I can see from the left side of the screen, the properties, there's the event sheet option. So the name is the level 1, and which event sheet is this level using? So right now it's using the event sheet 1, which obviously is the event sheet 1 right here. So if we rename this, we can right click on this and press rename, and let's rename it as let's say game. So what happens now is the event sheet, which is picked for the level 1, is now, of course, the game, because it's the same event sheet, we just renamed it. Okay, so that's our main game event sheet, in which we're gonna make actually all of the functionalities in this project. And yeah, there's different kind of other folders right now, which happens to be empty. So object types, so there's gonna be all of our objects. And the families are basically, you can group different kind of objects into families. So you can basically assign in code, for example, saying that I wanna do stuff with the whole group of these objects to do stuff. For example, the sound, so different kind of sound effects and so forth, and music for your game, and videos if you like, and also different kind of fonts for your game. The icons are basically, if you open that up, this is the icon which you have for your game right now. So that is the Construct 3 logo, which is the icon of the game right now. So if you would like to choose that, change that, you would have to make your own logo and upload it here. And last but not least is the files, in which you can create different kind of, let's say, if I right click here and press new, I have different kind of stuff which I can place it to the project. But right now we don't use those, so we are gonna go much more basic. Okay, so how do I create new objects into the game? Right clicking at empty space right here, I can open up this window where I have different kind of options, edit event sheet, view, paste, help. So here I have the insert new object, which opens up the new window in which we have all type of different kind of objects which I can add into my game. All of these helps a lot, or let's say that you cannot create a game in Construct 3 without using this. So the most of the what we're gonna use within this project is within the general category. So it's gonna be the tiled background and sprite and maybe text. I think that's basically it, what we're gonna do within this project. Yeah, so within the general, we're gonna use all the stuff from there. So let's start by creating a tiled background. What tiled background is it's a background which is obviously tiled. So let's actually choose that and see how it works. So double click that, you get this crosshair in where you want to place the object. It doesn't really matter where you place it, because you can change the position, of course, after that. So let's just place it somewhere. It opens up a drawing space in which you can actually draw what kind of tiled background you want to use. So what we're going to do, we are going to use the fill tool and pick any color you like. I'm going to pick a green grass, and I'll fill it up all with green and close it down. So now we have a tiled background. So how tiled background works, I'm just gonna show it to you. You don't have to do this. So if I would draw something here, let's say dot at the middle, and close it, I can see that if I now resize this, it will tile the picture I just draw. So that's why it's tiled background. So I'm just gonna remove that. Remove that dot from the middle. right there, and I close it. So now we have solid green. So you can move the object by pressing it and using the left mouse and dragging it all over the place. You can move it, or now you can see from the properties on the left that you have different kind of options for this given object. There's its name, its tiled background, and there's position, size, angle, opacity, and stuff like that. So all type of properties which you can change for the object. So the position, for example, if I change the position by dragging it, you can see that it updates right there. And same goes with the size. If I resize this using the corners and left mouse, I can see that the size changes. So let's rename this. Let's at the properties. So when the object is selected, you can see from the left side there's the name and tiled background. So let's call it grass. If you have it some different color than green, it's gonna be weird looking grass, but it's totally okay. And let's place it. You can see the dot lines here. So let's place it like the edge overlaps with that dot line, so it's within the camera area, but it looks like it's goes way beyond that for the player if it's overlapping that. So let's resize it a little, putting it as a floor for the game. Let's resize it here, so it's the whole view which the player can see is filled with grass area. So now we have a place where the player can stand. But right now, the tiled background isn't working as a platform. So if we would create a character here and make it a platformer character, it would just fall beneath the surface and fall to infinity. So how we can now make this as a working platform, we can pick this and pick the behaviors from the left. So the behaviors are, if you pick that, and you would see a list of behaviors here, but of course it doesn't have any behaviors, so that's why it's empty. So you can press the add new behavior, and you have all types of different kind of behaviors. What behaviors basically are let's say, it's a ready-made plugins for your objects. So basically these are pre-coded plugins for your objects. What you could do, you could also code these all by yourself, but these just let's say make stuff a lot more faster if you use this. But once you get better, you may even discover that it's much better to do the stuff on your own, because you have total control how those work. But right now, let's use this. So what we need to find from the list is, from the attributes, there's a behavior called solid. If you pick that, pressing it once with left, you can see at the bottom there's a description what it is, and solid make the object impassable, so other objects cannot move or fall through it. So that's what we want to do. Yeah. So make it as a platform, impassable platform. Let's add it there. Now we can see it on the list that we have the solid. And also when we close this window, we can see from the left properties that we actually now have the solid as one of the properties for this object. If we would add more of these behaviors here, these would also be listed here. But also if they have some kind of a properties, they would be listed right here in the object properties. So now we have it as a solid object. So let's add the player character right now. So right click in an empty space yet again and press the insert new object. And we can pick from the general, we have this sprite. So sprite is a single, let's pick that, double click that and press it somewhere. So sprite is a single image. So this is not a tiled background like we did, it's a single image. So we can paint something here. I'm just gonna paint some kind of a monster, which is the player character. You can draw anything you like, and hopefully you can draw a little better, but I'm just gonna do something really fast not to get really into how to make good looking characters. In this course, we are more looking into how stuff works. And I can create different kind of tutorials into making graphics if you like. But right now it's all about the mechanics and the functionalities of Construct Tree. Okay, so I'm just gonna draw some eyes here maybe. Yeah, there we have it. And actually I'm gonna stop it here, just make some pupils for it. There we have it. That's our character. And I'm gonna close it. There we have it. And it's way too big right now. So how we can change the size is obviously by using the corners. When we get these arrows, we can change the size of the object. But there's also a proper way that if you, from the properties, when the object is selected, you can open up by using this small black arrow. You have these different kind of options for the size. And there's a % for X scale and Y scale. So what you can do there is type % how small the object is gonna be. So I'm gonna type 25% and 25%. So now it's looking a little more nicer for the view, not too big. So let's place it there at the corner. And we're gonna add another behavior for the character. So let's pick the character and actually rename it first because its name is now sprite. So we wanna call it player. And from the properties, we have the behaviors. And of course, for this object, it's empty. So it doesn't have any behaviors. If I open that up, it's empty. But the tile background, which we created and added the behavior, we have behaviors because we added those. But for the player, we don't have yet any behaviors. So let's do pick the behaviors and add new behavior. And find a behavior called, from the movements, we have platform. So let's pick that, double click that, and close this window. And we have the platform behavior at the object properties now. And there's different kind of options which we can change. There's the max speed, acceleration, deceleration, jump strength, gravity, and stuff like that, which will of course affect how the player moves. But before we can start changing those in any way, we of course need to see how it works right now. So actually we can play our game for the first time right now. So at the top there's a play button. It's a preview button. If you press that, it will open up the game. And by using the arrow keys, you actually have a moving character in your game. Of course, right now it doesn't have any kind of animations and any kind of different kind of functionalities and stuff like that. But you can already move, jump. Yeah, that's about it. It's not a fancy game yet, but that's a good start. So, to be exact, congratulations, this might be your very first game made with Construct, or maybe even first game in never. So congratulations for that. And yeah, I think we need a little more features for this game before we can call it done. But that's a good start. So let's close this preview window right here. And yeah, now we have the movement for our character. So next we're gonna dig into looking how the animations work for the character and how can we create those. So see you in the next video.